So you're thinking about becoming a buyer's agent for one of the other realtors in your office, and you've been talking about it, and it seems like it's a pretty good plan. You don't want to spend the kind of money that's necessary to do the marketing, or it's just maybe too cumbersome in terms of cost. And maybe you're starting with a foundation that's not as large as you'd like it to be in terms of past clients and associates that you can rely on. So yes, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a fantastic way to either begin your career or from time to time to rekindle your career. Maybe just give it a little kickstart or a restart. So it's a great idea. But there are some tips I'd like to give you before you make that decision. Huge problem with buyer agents is they don't last very long, and there's a number of reasons that they don't. So let's cover off 4 of the top reasons that buyer agents don't, well, it just doesn't work. And if you can in fact create solutions or use the solutions I'm about to recommend, I think the chances of you surviving as a buyer's agent for an extended period of time and being successful at it, which is the most important part, can take place. So firstly and most importantly, create a written buyer agent agreement. So your brokerage should have one ready to go. If they don't, call me, I will get you ours. It specifically details every situation and how it's going to be split, who the client belongs to, how it's going to be handled, so that there is no argument about it down the road. Inevitably, everybody wants a little bit more, but if it's in writing, then you can't really negotiate or expect more until the contract is ended. So having a contract is to both parties' interests, or is in both parties' best interest, I should say. So number 1, in writing contract. Number 2, as far as the main realtor's concerned, the buyer agent does not want to just get the leads that the main agent doesn't want. So in other words, if all you're receiving are mediocre, soft leads that don't turn into business, but yet the main realtor wants you to turn those into leads, it's not going to work. So if you're the person that's bringing on a buyer's agent, you must share not just the weak leads, you must also share the strong leads. And the buyer contract does lay out some guidelines for what kind of leads to share as well, and it should. Thirdly, respect the buyer agent's time. So in other words, if you're a buyer's agent, you need to have a discussion with the main realtor about your time. So in other words, a lead comes up, it happens to be an evening, a weekend, or a specific day that you had something planned, and your main realtor says, I got a client, you need to take care of him tomorrow because I can't. Well, I think they need to respect the buyer agent's time as they respect their own time. You know, within reason. You have to keep that in mind. And fourth, but not, and lastly, but not least of importance, is your brokerage should have a special commission plan for buyer's agents. Because if the commission plans are standard or front-end loaded, there's really no incentive for you to become a buyer's agent. You're paying the majority of the money to the brokerage. So if your brokerage does not have a plan, you should suggest one to the brokerage. And by the way, we do. So you could always come here. Once again,